This is for the instructions on how to set up your antonyms drawing. You are creating a grid according to the instructions, and this video will hopefully help you to set up your grid. So for your grid in your journal, you are using your 2.5 by 2.5 inch template, and you need a pencil, and you will need a ruler and an eraser. Remember to draw lightly as you are drawing each of your boxes, because you will be erasing sections of your boxes a little bit later. So this is my 2 by 2 by 2.5 template. And you see I have my sketchbook and that it is horizontal or landscape. And I'm going to start towards the top of the page, about roughly 1/2 inch from the edges. I'm just eyeballing it and making sure that this looks mostly straight, because I'm going to use this box as my starting point. And the first thing that we want to do is trace our template all the way around, because this is going to be where all of our measurements are based off of. So I have my box traced all the way around. The next thing that I need to do is use my ruler to draw a straight line from the very edge of my paper all the way across to the other side. So I'm going to put my ruler on the very bottom of this box, make sure that it's lined up straight on my paper, and draw this line very lightly all the way across the page, so that I have a straight line that's going all the way across. What I'm also going to do is put the ruler on the edge up and down on the box and make sure that it's straight, and draw this line all the way up and down, so it goes all the way down my page. From here, I am going to measure 1/4 inch and put a mark there. And that is where my next box is going to start. So I'm going to put my box back on the line that I just traced and trace around my square. Like that. I want to measure 1/4 inch again by putting my ruler on the line, making a mark. Put my box on that mark. And trace that again lightly. And same thing for the last set. I want to go to 1/4 inch from my box. And then trace my last one. So we need a 4 by 3 grid. And as long as you are measuring and using your ruler correctly, you should be able to fix 4 across on your page and 3 down. So to go downwards, I'm just going to move my paper across, and I'm going to put my ruler on my line that I have straight. And I want to mark and measure 1/4 inch from the line that's on that long line that we drew before. And I'm going to go across. I'm going to mark on both sides of my ruler so that my lines are straight. I'm going to put marks there. And I'm going to go farther over and line up my ruler on that line, and then mark 1/4 of an inch away again. The reason we want to have 2 sets of measurements is so that our ruler is nice and straight going across the page. Line up your dots. Make sure the ruler is straight on your paper. And draw the line across. This is now where you'll put the next box, your first box of the next line. So I'm going to place my template into that corner. And then trace my box. And we're going to repeat the steps that we used for the very first. I'm going to line up my ruler all the way across. And draw my straight line across. And another thing that you could do is draw the lines up and down if you wish. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my template in place and line it up with the box that's above. I'm going to line these up and draw my lines on both other sides. So now I'm going to line this up here. I'm going to measure just to make sure that I'm right. 1/4 of an inch. Measure 1/4 of an inch. Line up my template. Do that there. Let me measure 1/4 of an inch again. 1/4 of an inch from the box. And then line up my template in that last corner. So we'll repeat the same steps for the very last row by turning my page to the side, more portrait, lining up my ruler on that last line, measuring 1/4 of an inch away on both sides of the ruler, and then using these marks to be able to draw my line straight across, all the way across on my page. It's very important that you are measuring and marking so that all of your boxes are straight across from each other. So again, on this final one, this final row, I'm going to put my box in that corner that I just created and trace. We want to measure 1/4 of an inch away. Line up your template. Trace it. Measure 1/4 of an inch. Line up your box. And then last box, we want to measure 1/4 of an inch away. And then line up our template one last time. And there we go. So from here, you will need to erase any marks that are not part of your 9 boxes, or sorry, your 12 boxes. And what I'm going to be erasing are these lines in between and on the outsides that are extra. So this way, what I am left with are 12 squares in a 4 by 3 grid.